Hey YouTubers, I'm working on my stackable washer dryer. Putting new shocks on it. The basket was not sitting squarely. This one is. This one wasn't. The shocks were bad. The shocks have a little welded ring inside each mount. Well, the challenge is those little rings that are part of this base basically broke off, so it's like got a seized nut on it. So what I did is basically drilled it at the base. As you can see, kind of sort of on this one. Or was it this one? I think it was this one. In any event, I don't even know where the part went. You're going to drill that little tiny ring off, and once you drill the ring off, I just basically took a punch and a hammer and knocked it out of there. There's nothing to thread those into, so you'll have to find a bolt. Unfortunately, the bolt big enough to fit that barely fits in this cavity, but it can be done. A little maneuvering and you can get your new struts back in there. The instructions came with it in terms of dismantling the unit. It's pretty simple. The key to it is that there's two bolts in the base. That once you take those two bolts out, raise the plate ever so slightly, and this whole plate comes out with everything on it. And then you got to start dismantling it here. Got a couple of bolts, 3 bolts for the struts. Just disconnect your hoses, disconnect your water supply line, disconnect your drain hose, disconnect your electrical and your ground, and everything will slide right out of there. And then you can work on it. I will add a video of the finished product when I'm done. Alrighty, my struts are installed. I had to drill the old ones out, as I said, and these little metal rings are probably part of this base underneath these struts here, and those metal rings just ripped right out, probably from the washer being unbalanced and just banging all over the place, and it just rips the base apart. If you read the instructions tell you that you got to get a new base. I got these out by drilling from the underside at an angle close to the edge of the bolt on the strut there, and just drilled it out. I don't know if you can focus on that or see it, but you're going to get on the underside of the mount, you're going to drill it and pound it out. Once it was out, I just slipped the new ones in. I was lucky enough in my bucket of bolts and stuff to find 3 nuts that fit those. It was a 7/8 inch socket that I used on those, and they fit in there pretty good. The directions give you 3 self-tapping screws to put in the bases so the bases don't spin. So I put them in. But that's that. The instructions recommend you need a new base. I'll let you know how I make out after I put it back together. Maybe we can salvage it without buying a new base. Alrighty, it's reassembled on its base. I recommend while you have it apart, put on a new clutch. It's an inexpensive part on eBay. I buy all my parts on eBay, cheapest place. You got it apart, it's going to be so much easier doing it now versus later. I'm glad I did, because I pulled that clutch out and it was weak. It was shot. So, we'll clean it up a little bit, slide it back in the cabinet, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, I got it back in. Don't do like I did and forget to put your drain hose, attach it to your pump, because I ended up putting it in, mounting it, and realizing I forgot it and had to pull it back out. So get your hose, your pump hose, drain hose back in place. The unit just slips right in there real nice, and then this bolt and this bolt will be replaced, not replaced, but put back, and that locks the unit into the tray. I did Loctite these. Loctite comes with the kit, so I squirt a little Loctite on those nuts. What size wrench went in there? Ooh, good thing I checked that one. That is a 3/4 inch nut. I'm gonna have to go back and check. Maybe I missed one in my distractions. In any event, Loctite on those, 3/4 inch nut. Get your fill hose reattached. I found it's easier to disconnect this from here. Take this plastic bracket off. And once all in your wiring here, get that back in and get your ground screw back in place. Slide it in, slide it out, depending on where you're going with the project. I can already tell, looking at the clearance on this side and the clearance on that side, this thing is going to be sweet when it's done. I will show you the working product. Thanks for watching. We get the wash cycle working. Check that out. Spinning like a champ. Balanced very nicely.